what kind of building? Isolation. No, it's not a good example. Because it's not a building actually. We were thinking, is a territory, is a place, or is a phenomena, or is an object? My friends, I will tell you, it's good. It's all three in one. It's not bad. It's good. And the idea of this culture, reproductive powers of the city, is that there are a lot of millions of different objects, different places, and even phenomena. But it doesn't really matter if there's a building alone standing somewhere in the outskirts of a city, and when it's empty, we have to say it's zero. It's actually if there will be no place, no object like this, it will be no difference. So we talk about reproductive powers. Other thing is cultural framework. What it is? A cultural framework, the idea came from understanding how places work, how objects integrate in the social life of everyday culture, how some phenomena arise and disappeared. It's a kind of network of all those three elements, and every city has its own cultural framework. Later I will show some diagrams. Well, and the third aspect is eventology. Yesterday I was lying in my bed and was thinking what I have to say, and I have to say a lot of things, but actually I'm so tired of those things because I was thinking about those things for 10 years and I'm so tired. So I'm sorry, I will not tell about those things. I will tell some new things. One of the new things we can generate an ideas about the city as a shifting space, and in this political context, where we are now, we can talk about eventosophia and eventophobia. For example, you locked in your room and you don't want to go outside because there are guys wearing strange caps and bringing strange flags and doing nobody knows what. And eventosophia, when you cannot live in the place you call your private room, your house, you feel alone, yes? You feel unhappy, and you feel bad. So that's what you think about. You think about, let's go to the center. Не знаю, как вы, но мы говорим так. Пойдем в центр. And it's a very strange term because you live in the center, and when you go outside, you say, let's go to the center. Now and I'm saying, psychologically, you always, all of you and me, which is strange, and me, we are all the time in the very center of the universe, because there is no safe place in the world except your brain. What I mean? I mean that the brain is the responsible one for what happened with us in a strange place like this. Budonov rayon. Okay, I'm kidding. It's a nice place. And also, my brain is responsible too for what doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? I mean, all the things we are observing and taking it at our heart, if you feel that, oh, I like this, and you say, no, I don't like it. I moved out from this. So it's because our brain is working in different ways, perceiving and recognizing some things that are good for you for that moment or not. And once the guy I love, David Bowie, said, happiness is happening. Do you know that song? It's from Hunky Dory albums, 1971. Happiness is happening. It's a very, very interesting play of words that are related to each other in a different, in a very interesting way. I mentioned before that our brain and we ourselves are responsible for our personal happiness, about personal response and personal activities that are the key factor for the formation of a space. If we have buildings in the city, the buildings don't move. And spaces in between the buildings, they are our main field for everything. Of course, there are some regulations and there are some rules that make city as urban structure. We used to analyze some different aspects of this urban structure. I will show you later the case of Donetsk. But what I'm trying to tell you that the event is one of possible ways to read the city, to understand the city. And of course, at the same time, it's a tool to recreate, reorganize, rethink. And that's what we are doing here now. We try to rethink the city. Well, talking about, okay, let's finish. It's enough, okay? I think it's interesting, but it's boring. Let's move now to the images I brought. It's kind of interruption. You see different spaces full of people. It's Klaipėda. It's Sea Fest. Many cities have city festivals. Thousands of people drinking beer, dancing. So we can call this event. This is also an event that people are not happy, not satisfied with their taxes. Would you believe? You don't like their taxes. You pay taxes and you like it. Or not. And you know, guys, that in a federalism era, we pay less taxes than we pay now. You know why? I don't know why. And this is people just sitting in the street, beating the drum. This is also an event. Who could say what's here? Is it an event? Do you think did you say? I don't know. Actually, it's not very, but you can see Soviet era buildings and one building from, I don't know, from the middle of 18th century. And this is a living residential area in Vilnius called Baltupiai. Just an example how different types of space can exist together in the city, contemporary city. And it's quite a good space for people with the children on the shore, just to sit, eat. And I don't know in English, but it's Russian. It's very popular. Есть семечки, да? Это тоже event. Вот этот очень большой event. Это ничего не происходит. Это граница города. Да. Sometimes I think about the cities and comparing cities from old times and contemporary. The main difference is the limits of the city. And here is a good example of how a contemporary city ends in a brutal way, just because it's a way to one of industrial areas. The municipality built the fence, which seems pretty weird, and I don't know why. I'm asking why the city paid salary to the city architect. What he is doing? He does things like this. If my students will bring project like here, I will say, okay, bye-bye. So it shows that city, you can understand the city like in a thinking like in the way like, I don't know what to say. We have tools, we have different types of building small forms of architecture, and there are students having no jobs. And at the same time, city building fences at the edge of a city without any project. What's going on? Well, this is an example of city center. It's a San Antonio, I think, in the States. There are no events. It's not interesting. This is an event. This is, you know what it is? It's a Ground Zero in New York. It's 1 year after this September 11th stuff. You will see the cross made of one of the iron beam junction used to memorize the place, and it's one of the best examples how event comes from nothing, and it changes the place actually. The object disappeared, the place remains, but it's not the same. And of course, it's a very, very expensive place, so city anyway will build kind of high scraper, but that high scraper will be not the same as previous high scrapers, because this place is filled with a huge amount of desperate memories and shaking that shake. For millions of people shake their hands and legs. This is not interesting. This is actually pictures I took to show about how we preserve cultural heritage. We excavate and carry out from the city to the trash as a trash. Well, it's a good event. I like it. There was a protest against a local municipality in the Šiauliai, fourth city by its scale, and people were protesting against the municipality's order to demolish one of the cultural places. There was a kind of cafe in the center of the city, and the protest stopped the movement. This is it's Zollverein. It's in a rural region, industry, and the factory was absolutely renovated and regenerated as a cultural industry center. Well, it's enough. I will continue my philosophy. What I have to say, to add to as a comment to the urban eventology. There are good architects who are working in this direction, creating buildings and complexes, not as a piece of concrete and glass and steel. They working on the scenarios. Scenarios means that it's a kind of stage. The building site is kind of stage of different events, different ways to connect the building with the surrounding area in the sense actually they using building as a radio to spread the information and to build a communication network. That's what I'm trying to say. You know Rem Koolhaas, you know maybe Bernard Tschumi, Günther Zamkel. They realized a bunch of projects all over the world using this kind of patterns. And okay, let me show you some examples. It's Las Vegas, very famous city, and actually the first city that started from that, which built its industry based on the event, different type of event. And people from all over the world and the America coming there and for vacation, to spend their money and to make brilliant wedding parties. And well, actually I've been there and I like that place. Not because the city seems green, which is absolute fake. You can touch the grass, but it's a plastic. Can you feel this? It's it seems strange, but well, but the city is alive. Streets are full of people, of course, and full of cars, and you can do a lots of things. Say you can marry, you can spend your money, all your money, and not all of your money, but your father's money. So, I like that place. This is a good, other good example in Mostar, in Bosnia and Montenegro. The symbol of a city, an arc bridge that was demolished during the Yugoslavian war in 1992, and it was called absolutely brilliant object of cultural heritage from 15th century. And guys just blow down, and you see new bridge. They build a new bridge based on old bridge picture, and actually, what we can say, the object became cultural heritage because of its symbolical impact on in the war. It was a symbol demolished by Serbian army, and the local government rebuilt the city and remade the bridge as a new symbol of Bosnian of that city. This is also a very good example. It's in Wrocław, in Poland. It's not a big square, but it's a square with very high potential and communicational support to the anti-Chinese movement, and it's a square built on memory to Tiananmen happenings in 1989. Well, it's a Vilnius, and well, it's a Klaipėda, my city, the place I was born. I was living there for 15 years, so it's my place where I was just spent everyday time. And now you can see the Russian church, because the city was international and they built like in the new forms, like in Ukraine and Russia, a lot of churches like this built. And the whole landscape has been changed. I mean, the character, if you go there, you cannot understand where are you. You are in Ukraine, or you are in Kiev, or you are somewhere else. I mean, well, it's the space. The space is somehow changed its character. Oh, it's a good example of how places became different. This is in Vilnius, and you cannot see his face, but it's this guy is very favorite. You know, you must know him. It's a Franz Zappa. And Vilnius was the first city which built a monument for Franz Zappa. It was in 1996. And the city very often multiplicate this information as a culture-friendly city with its international how to say it, with international relations, and what is interesting with Zappa that Vilnius resell the idea of Frank Zappa to the hometown of Frank Zappa, Baltimore. Could you imagine? It's a kind of being ambassadorship, and it's, I said to the local cultural police workers that, well, look, it's a good idea to how city must provide his abilities to find his place in the cultural market, at the global scale. You can be an ambassador between the pop culture and musical culture to do things in this way. So, and they made a copy of this hat and gave to Baltimore as a present. So, this is Dresden, the main square and the main church of the city, which was rebuilt absolutely in 100% because during the Second World War it was demolished. I think this is the view. So Germans rebuilt the object and rebuilt the phenomenon. Now the square is very famous and very all those buildings on the second plan are rebuilt too. This is another type of event building strategy from post-Soviet countries. It's Tirana, Albania. You know why? There's the only reason that you don't think that Tirana has a very brilliant cultural police or brilliant cultural ambassadors there. The only cause was that mayor, he was a painter. He said, "Oh, I don't like those buildings. Please paint it over in this way." So the guys painted, and it seems quite funny and unusual. Well, it's a Trafalgar Square, and too many things happens in London, and it's better to be there and to see, not to talk about it. The fence, Guggenheim, Bilbao, all you know this example. It's a Disney center, Los Angeles, by the same architect, Frank Gehry. It's also, we can describe this building as an object phenomenon itself. New York, well, it's a good thing. The building is built in a very small town in Germany by a German architect of Romanian background, Günther Zamkel. It's a Neanderthaleum museum. This is an example how the place used its potential, like the cave of Neanderthalic man. They excavated and built in the very close surroundings, build a museum. Actually, the main principle of organization of inner spaces are spiral, downward spiral, and it goes to that cave. So it's a very interesting project. If you be in Germany, please visit this space. Well, now I have to quit myself because I want to show other things. I was talking about cultural framework. I was talking about principal diagram. Here it is. How to do it. I don't understand. Okay, I will open different diagrams. Can you see it? Not good, but well. Where is Misha? Misha, come here. Please help us. Ну, не знаю, как увеличить, потому что это надо знать, что. Но масштаб это масштаб.
Хотя бы так.
Это другая программа, я не знаю, как это. Okay, you see orange objects and black and gray ones. This is a cultural framework of the city of Vilnius. It's the framework was built on combining different types of different places in the central area. Is built from two types of organizations, two types of morphotectonical ensembles, I call. To understand what I mean, it's different regions. Old city and new city, and if it's separated by the landscape, we can separate in two different organizational elements. And we have residential domains, like here. They are together, but they are separated by green buffer zones. And when we have this sort of proposition of different objects, different places, then we can do the next step to look what kind of cultural facilities we have there. And for example, usually cities, all cultural facilities are based in the central area. But when we're trying to analyze what kind of this central area is, what is the distance from the closest residential areas, we understand that it's not always, it's not the same principle. And in Vilnius case, we can see that it's like a boomerang, and I can tell you and in Donetsk, if we talk about the central area, the central area is too big, and it's not even. We have a southern part, we have a northern part, and the southern part you have Yuzovka, and the Yuzovka is not the same as the quarters near the railway station. Well, it might look the same, but we have to look more closely, more deep, to make a more detailed analysis to understand that it's a different morpho structures that have different morphotypes. Какой это? Какой? Какой? Это U. Фактор A. Okay. Okay. Now we try that. I want to tell you, I would like to continue if you really want to understand that what is a good thing we can get from this eventology. I mean, is it a real thing, or is just like a kind of sophistication to different way to talk about the city? We can talk or make a theoretical approach and finish to the conclusion, well, we have this, but that's it. We cannot change the city because the city has a general plan, and the general plan, they are guys working on this general plan, and the public has no connection with this plan. Yes, you can come with some suggestions, but they say, yeah, it's good, but it doesn't fit to our strategy, or so on. I mean, public participation is a key factor. All we know it. The papers, the official policy is other thing. But actually, it's a strange thing happened. Before my lecture, I was thinking about I want to talk about urban eventology, but I will talk about an alternative way to build a city. And somehow this second part of the name disappeared, and appeared personal happiness. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. We need to talk about eventology. But then I was start to think that, yes, I was talking about happiness and happening. And I understood that it's it's just very personal thing. I start from my personal relationship with the urban environment, and I start analyzing one thing, and then come to understanding that all things are related, and then I start investigate. It's my investigations in this analysis plan. Yes, and what's going on? I don't like all the time the computer is saying, do this, do that, turn off yourself. I said, fuck off. So, and the main thing is, what I'm trying to say, that urban eventology is not a mathematical theory of probability. You know this, like scientists doing very complex research on the things, how they move, and what, for example, how humanity, how big the humanity will be in 2800. And so on, or maybe social theory of event planning and management. And in Western countries, there are lots of investigations showing the shifting pattern of social structure. Americans very careful analyzing how changes the national patterns, and they are very scared, looking scared on the thing that the white America is shrinking and the black and the Spanish part is increasing. Well, but I was talking about the part about urban eventology as a paradigm of cultural opinion, of public opinion on cultural space and social capital development. That's why I'm talking you, that you are the capital and you are the key resources to the city development. Young people, motivated people, skillful people. This is where all good things starts from. And then I add to this cultural framework one layer called the phenomenon level, and I showed how it works. And there are preliminary 3 different types of elements. First level is outer field. I call outer field or outer layer, which contents of events, usual events related to everyday culture. One star broke his leg, and one guy beat his other man, some kind of stuff. So all the time something is going on all over the world. And it's outer field. It's very common thing. And there are inner field. It's events that we can describe as of connections between the flow space with the different types of objects and places. And it's a very directive events. For example, football matches like Shakhtar and Dnipro played, and a lot of people knows about it, even they don't care about football, but they know because it's written all over the city. Please, we need your help. Come and buy Shakhtar accessories. I bought one. So the most interesting and the most complicated layer related to the eventology is the core. What the hell is that? The core is unmaterial substance, I call. Unmaterial substance in the sense that it's a historical narratives connected to the place where you belong. The place, Donetsk as a place. And for example, it's a very strange thing because you don't know is it true or not, and the fact, the thing is that it's just a fact. You know that there are, what kind of fact you know from the city, from the history. For example, we know the thing that one of Lithuanian knights, somewhere in the 14th century, he was on the shore of the Black Sea. There was no documentary. There was no recorded types or videography that he was there. But we know as historical narrative, and that narrative was repeated years after years, ages after ages, and all we know about the thing that he was on the Black Sea. But is that true or not? Nobody knows. This I call historical narrative and stories. All cities has its stories. Most cities in the Soviet era was built on as a Город, yeah? Is that true? People who died there, or people who lived in that time, all they are dead. What we know about it, it's written in the books, but we know that books are lying. Some of them not, but we don't know which one. This is incredible fact, and this is the main source on what historians working, and they're building new stories. And even some stories we know, if government put a lot of money, they can build brilliant stories. I knew very recent examples about the event core builders in Israel. Some scientists just 5 years ago, they found it, and that somewhere in Israel land, there are remains of Solomon's, the King Solomon's where he's lived, in a kind of, who knows where King Solomon lives, in a castle, or in a fortress, or in a cabin, or wherever. They found something that belongs to King Solomon. You know what it means? It means that they saying that Israel did the right thing and they live on their own land. The land, the King Solomon belongs to their nature, to their culture, to their historical narrative. That's what Russian Federation doing now. It is saying the Crimea belongs to us. God damn, I said, the whole world belongs to you if you want, but better to talk about, I would say, I don't need the states as this because the whole world belongs to everybody. What we're talking about? We're talking about manipulation, we're talking about propaganda, we talk about repetition of artificial narratives. I'm not talking about this is good or this is bad. This is very primitive way of thinking, because as we do many things, and those things when you do, you don't think is good or bad. Sometimes in its very nature, people think that they do as best as they can. But it's a different, it's not a topic, it's a topic for other lectures. So let me finish with the case of Donetsk. This is framework of Donetsk. Do you like it? It looks like a rabbit from the Playboy with the 4 ears, but it's a very, very primitive diagram. The satellite Izolatia here is here. This is a center of the core. Here you have another kind of extra center, which is related to the main center, and some cultural facilities like stadium, library, theater, etc. And these pink ones, they are main directions for residential development. I mean, this is a key factor for the city where people live. Okay, let's go. Doesn't work. Knows how it works. Misha, you know how it works? Ah, застрял. Застрял. Yeah. Here we are, Izolatia. It's kilometers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It shows very well how Izolatia are isolated from the outer world. Do you like that? Yeah. The orange structure is high-rise residential environments. Okay, let's go further. It's a public and commercial environments, red structure. Here you can see how we are very well isolated from public and commercial environments. Here are how we are isolated from the recreational potential or recreational environments. Actually, yeah, it's not good, but we are in a distance of 2 kilometers from this park. I don't know, is it good or bad? I think if we try to go there, we will have some troubles. Yes. Okay, but it's not a question right now. The question is there a possibility to build kind of new identity of Donetsk, new, and what is possible, what is the possibilities for Izolyatsia to become as a key, to become as a transformer, or to function as a transformer in this context? I would say there are also possibility with your industrial surroundings. The green is the industrial zone, and these are Tericon Valley, as we call it, and with some possible relation. And we are here. So actually, you can see that the city is separated into at least one big, another, and some smaller areas. And you can see in the city when you're moving around and how these terracons are separating landscape. First I thought it's there somewhere in the southern part of China kind of landscape, but the difference is that all those hills are green there, and you will be very happy people if all of us have a possibility to make them green. Can you imagine the green terracons full of like different flowers, or to paint it over in the black and orange colors? Would be nice. Yeah, and the final diagram is based on eventology of Donetsk city. You can see this diagram for the cities, major cities of Ukraine. It's if Kiev has mentioned in the internet 265 million times, the Donetsk is on the 4th place with a mentioning of 160 million times. It's not a precise calculation, it's very approximate. But anyway, this principle works showing what kind of objects are main event builders in the city. You have here the stadium, Donbass Arena, the big one, Площадь Ленина, and Izolyatsia. It's a 14,000 events, it's here. Donbass Arena is 240,000. And actually, only 2 objects are based in the neighborhood Kubishevsk, yes? 3 rayon. So now you have questions. Do you have questions? Because I finished this part. And
What would you change here in Donetsk first of all?
Me? I already done. I changed myself. Okay, but let's think, all of us. The changes are they are all the time, but some of them are visible, some of them are not. I would say that there are two crucial problems in the city. First is a pollution. You have to work on it, or government must do the main thing. And the other thing is how to say, the city is a very, very big area actually, and some parts of the city are very separated from the center. It means that need more connections, more interdependence between different regions. And in principle is actually it's a complex of problems, but the key for this problem, to solve this problem, is общественный транспорт. Сама система общественного транспорта, она должна быть пересмотрена кардинально. Потому как бы позитивный фактор есть, как бы очень много этого, и автобусы, и троллейбусы есть, и трамваи, и даже метро есть, которые не ходят, да. И пешком можно идти, вот велосипедом не знаю как. But the main thing is actually, if you like to be and to stay with this idea of industrial city image, that's okay. But if not, then, well, it's a long term to invent something real, something good that will be different from this industrial image of the city.
Have you been to another cities here in Ukraine? Could you compare Donetsk with another big cities?
No, I can compare with some other Russian or Romanian cities.
Industrial ones.
Industrial ones.
Which one, Romania?
When you're going to Sofia, there's a city called I forget, Constant. Yeah, like that. It's a big city, but all the city are kind of in Budionov, rusty pipelines all over the place, lots of trash all over the city, and all damaged industrial plants all over the city. I think this might be situation has been changed, because I heard the same about Bucharest, but it was 15 years ago, and when even the municipality rebuilt the public transport system, the situation changed completely.
Maybe every city has special points or special place, ritual place, ritual points, and maybe we have one art object, and we decided to put it on the special regional places in Florence. And I'd like to ask you, maybe you saw here in the city some special points which have special influence for environment and for people.
Yeah, I understand the question. Well, I would say, well, what means good point? They are not good or bad. It means they are good places for change.
Yeah.
And there are one good method to is an investigation to the region. You have Khrushcheva district with all nasty residential flats, and you can calculate. It's absolutely, there is no point. There is no economically, it doesn't work if you just put lots of money to renovation. You need to think it's 10 years later, all those residential buildings will be demolished. But before that, you need to create kind of added value to this part of city, to small region, district, let's say. District might have contain a new spirit, a new vision. And for this vision, in the central part of this, on the central square or on the intersection, on the crossroad, in the kind of green public square, you have to build a library, a multifunctional cultural center. I saw in Ventspils in Latvia this kind of example. It works well. And at the same time, when the cultural center was built, it changed the whole public life. People, older people coming in the morning, reading papers in the library, having coffee or tea, and talking. And what I'm talking about, it's a social change. It's not just to bring culture into the district. It brings a new social relation, and of course, it's anyways a big money for the city. If city has no money, it has. If the city wants some kind of changes, there are different ways to make a social impact. It's enough to have a small room for public institution, small one, 4 or 5 persons, to start investigation, start talking to the people. What do they expect? How they live? Or to build a kind of small post office, to build more functions to add to that center. So and then it will works. It works. I mean, the social aspect is a basic thing. First, when I analyzed this cultural formation, I was thinking about the culture separated from the city. And later I understood that when we talk about culture, we think about the people. Culture means very simple things. It's a communication. When we are coming to the art gallery, we communicate, but we communicate in a different way. Yeah, we look to this macaroni thing. Said, wow, I can do this. in my kitchen. I mean, it's a communication through the ideas. When we communicate in a place like this, we communicate straight. But also we can use words, we can use strange vocabulary, we can use technical equipment. But main thing is the thing that we are talking about, things we are concerned on. We concern on how the city might look, how the people live, and so on.
We're talking a lot about historical narrative. So we live in Donetsk. Most of us were born here, and for us it's really hard to forget about everything and to start creating new places for communication. You really think that it will be possible? I don't know. I think that this art center was created only because it was necessary for us. And we coming from here, from all the regions of our really big and separable town. And really, I don't know how it will work if some power-having people will give us place in the center of the city, even if it should be reconstructed. So, what would be like like the future of our town, like yours? What we could do really in this situation? In the situation of a great, big industrial city, which brings a lot of money to our country. How to defend our need to communicate, to socialization. I don't know. It's hard. A lot of years.
No, I would say everything is possible right now. Right now. How it's possible? How it is possible?
So we need to find our own yes.
There's a very simple thing. If you really like the monument of Lenin, let's stay, let's live, okay. But if I want to, but you know, it's a different perspective, and I can understand people who think that the things that stays behind us, the past, is very important for us. Okay, you live life looking to the past and live in this way. But I don't want to live in this way. I know that was in the future, but the motivation for me is what will be in the future. And I'm looking in this direction. That's why I'm saying, well, cultural heritage is not the collection of everything that happens before. It is the collection of the most important things for development, for this local community and for civilization. There are people who are collecting bottles. Why? Because they really want. It's very important to them. And there are millions.
Who is to judge this? Who is to judge what part of heritage it has some future in it, and what should be left behind?
There is no such a judge. The people who live and who are concerned about the past. I'm talking about, you live here and you know what things like. You cannot do things that you don't like. And that's it. This is a positive way to go further. And when you do things you like, and if you will be open to the things that are going on and you will find another people who like the same things. And later you will find more and more and more and more people, and then creates kind of continuum in the space, and it's move on. It's like a snow from the top of the mountain. I know it's when you start thinking, well, I'm standing alone in the middle of a desert, what to do? And I'm afraid. But at the same time, the other part of me is saying that you're stupid, you're crazy, what are you thinking? And there are, I like такая китайская поговорка есть. Если будешь много сидеть на берегу реки, то в реке увидишь труп своего врага. Это обозначает, что stop thinking, let's do. And I could give you an example. My friends in Klaipėda. I was working there in the office on doing kind of detailed plans and some objects like shopping centers. And then I quit. I said, I don't like this job, and I moved to the capital, and some friends of mine stayed there. And later they realized what to do. Always everything are the same. If you want to earn good money, you have to do a bad job. If you want to get a good job, do things by yourself, and you will have less money. But you choose, you decide what things to do. And now in Lithuania, I know a lot of people who do things they like. They change their sense, they change their brains, they change their understanding, and well, you can survive, you can do your personal business, selling stuff to the world through the internet. Well, we have possibilities, we have everything. Then, of course, you cannot change the street, you cannot change the blocks you live there, but
you can create
you change yourself.
Changes.
No, I mean, how the things are going on. And those friends of mine now, the architects, they said there are no other guys, only us who can do something in the city. And they started to do. They became members of architectural unions. They started to participate in the city's level, and 5 years later, the city starts listening to them and starts asking questions. Oh, we have this problem. Could you help us? Before, when the people were talking to the standing on the different sides of the barricades, there was no communication. There was a caravan, and the government was walking to one direction, and the guys doing things in opposite way and living their lives, but doing in that way. Is that it was good? I don't think so. I was also in that kind of barricades, and I was criticized all the government does. Like today, you saw those fences. Well, but I understand. At that time, I didn't make a proposal for the government, and that what happens. That happens that they build as they build. There are no such. I think there is no other way. But it's a good question. And well, to finishing this discussion, I would I would like to thank for all of you that you are living here and that I am here. That it's it's a incredible challenge to through this environment, through these people, to look back to myself, to understand what I do and what is it possible that I can do something that will work worth it or a kind of impact, you say. And well, this cultural framework is a I would say it might be seen as an impulse to continue this work in the future, because it's a process and it cannot stop just because nobody does it at that moment. It continues. We want this or not. So let's do this. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. So
Russia doesn't have.
you don't have Russia at all, I see. How was it? From your point of view?
I think good. Of course, well, it's hard to say. The people have to say. Do they understand what I'm talking about? Is there some positive things?
Thomas, I wouldn't